What's up, guys? It's your boy Spider Productions here, and I just finished my watch along of the new Mandalorian episode, season 2, episode 5, The Jedi. Now, I just posted a video earlier, actually, that showed my first reaction to Ahsoka. Trust me, if I could, I would have done an entire reaction to it. I definitely will rewatch this. But dude, we got like 95 people, 95 views in an hour. That's amazing. Like, it's very rare that I get a lot of views like that. So I thank you guys so much for helping me out. Like, it's very rare that I get a lot of views like that, especially so quickly. And especially this late. It was like 3 in the morning when I posted that. So I'm kind of surprised people were still awake to watch it. But you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the love and support. I was thoroughly happy because I wanted to watch the episode, but I wanted to do my reaction to it because I wanted you guys to see my reaction to Ahsoka. And was I happy to do it? And it was awesome. Dude, this episode, holy crap. Like, it was amazing. Like, from start to finish. Like, it was so good. Like, there were things that, like, you know I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan, so I nitpicked a few things, but it did not ruin the experience for me. So I'm gonna just show it because this is how you know I'm a Star Wars fan. I have all the action figures, or at least some of them. I'm trying to work on my collection. But Ahsoka actually was the first Star Wars Black Series action figure I bought. The second one was Kanan. The first one I bought was literally this one, Ahsoka Tano. And I've had this, I think for the past 3-4 years, I've had this figure. And seeing her live action, dude, was literally a dream come true. Like, I never would have thought when we watched the first season of Mandalorian that we would get to see Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka Tano this season. Like, that's amazing. Like, it's one of the greatest things that I've seen, dude. I'm not crying, trust me. I almost did a few times. But, dude, Dave Filoni. Shout out to Dave Filoni, because Dave Filoni directed this episode, and of course he directed it with his great Star Wars magic. He did a fantastic job. Jon Favreau, you yourself, man, shout out to you. You did an amazing directing job also throughout the show itself. So I just want to give a shout out to both of them for doing such an amazing job with this. And shout out to Rosario Dawson. Like, it felt like this was literally Ahsoka. Like, I didn't feel like it wasn't her. Not at all. I didn't feel like they changed her character. I didn't feel like it was just like the best comparison, like, from live action to animation is like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan from the prequels to him in the Clone Wars. They were like in sync. Like, it was no different for me. Hayden Christensen as Anakin to him in Clone Wars was a difference. Like, you could tell. Like, there were subtle differences, but like there were some differences. Like, Anakin in Clone Wars was much more enjoyable than he was in the movies. Like, there were things about him in the movies that people would say, but we didn't see it because, you know, it's a movie. But they didn't really focus on it in the movie. But they focus on it a lot in the Clone Wars show. But dude, I've been a fan of Ahsoka Tano since, like, when did the show first come out? I think in 2010? I might be wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sorry I'm making this video stupid long, but I just want to get my facts straight before I just post this. Before I just say stuff, because I know how the Star Wars fandom is. So I just want to be accurate in my knowledge, because I'm a Star Wars fan as well. I want to know when it first premiered. 2008. Okay. So Star Wars The Clone Wars came out in 2008. I was 7 when this show came out. And Ahsoka was literally my favorite character, because I watched the movie too, because I think the movie came out like 2 years before, maybe a year before. I don't want to check it, but I think it was like a year or 2 before. So I was like 6 or 5 when it came out, and I watched that. That was around the time when I started getting into Star Wars. I got into Star Wars from the Clone Wars. Then my dad recommended me that I watch the movies. So I watched them in release order. I watched 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3. And then when I heard the sequels were coming out, of course I was happy. And dude, Ahsoka has literally been like one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Like, most of my favorites are prequel characters anyway. Like, I have a few, obviously, original character and sequel character favorites. But, like, my top 5 is Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Luke, and it's kind of debatable sometimes. I'll say Starkiller, because I love Starkiller. He's like such a cool character. But I'll probably switch it to Darth Maul because it's voiced by the same person. But anyway. But those are, like, my top 4 favorites. Like, Dude, seeing her in live action was like a dream come true. Like, it was so amazing. Like, I didn't feel like her character was changed. I didn't feel a difference. Like, because that was what I was worried about. I was worried because we've seen this in Star Wars before, where they would have the live action characters first, and then the animation characters, and then you could tell the difference between the two characters. The same character, but you can tell the difference as far as like personality and everything based on movie and show. Because movies can only focus on so much. The show can focus on more because it's a TV show. So I was grateful and glad that Ahsoka was a TV show character, so that we could focus on her character a lot more and her growth throughout the show. From like Clone Wars to Rebels to now this show to this episode, you can see she's grown. Like, dude, like it's I didn't feel a difference. Like, I didn't feel like it wasn't her. I didn't feel like they changed her at all. Of course, it's Dave Filoni directing. He's not going to change his own character. But I didn't feel like Rosario Dawson did any disrespect to the character. She did an amazing job. Now, I've heard rumors that they said that there was a possibility that Ahsoka could have a spin-off show. I know it's confirmed that Bad Batch is going to have one, and I also heard that Bo-Katan is supposed to be in it too, which I don't know why. That would be interesting. But if Ahsoka, I think she definitely deserves her own show at this point. Let's be honest. Ahsoka definitely deserves her own TV show at this point. Now, the question is, since she was made into live action just now, if people like it enough, will it be live action or will it be animation? I feel like it most likely would be animation because everybody's so used to animation, and even me myself. Like, as much as I love Rosario Dawson because she's an amazing actress, despite I know some of the things I've heard about her with her other stuff. I don't know the list, but I know about that, and I also heard about some other stuff. But I've seen her in many roles. Played many roles. I follow her on social media. She's like a treasure, dude. She's amazing. She's an amazing woman. And it's like seeing her play as my favorite character is literally like it was amazing. So obviously this is spoilers, so it's gonna be long too. So hopefully you guys can sit through and enjoy how huge of a Star Wars fan I am. So when we first start off, if you saw my reaction to the last video, I literally reacted to Ahsoka. Like 3 minutes in, they showed her. Like 3 minutes in, they showed her face, and I was like, oh my god. Now, okay, the nitpicks. Let me just get the nitpicks out of the way. I noticed that, so this is Ahsoka during the Star Wars Rebels show. I believe they said the Mandalorian show takes place 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. We saw Ahsoka at the end of Return of the Jedi, at the end of Rebels, the last episode. And she was wearing like her Gandalf the White outfit with her staff and her cloak. We didn't see that in this episode, which, okay, fine. I didn't really think they needed to show it, which was okay. I don't know why she was wearing it either, but whatever. I noticed that her, like, I don't know what they're called, honestly. I don't want to disrespect the character, so I'm not even going to try. But, like, these things at the top, I've noticed that they in the show, they were shorter. In the show, the episode, they were shorter. And, you know, that her I don't even want to disrespect her, I'm sorry. Her ear things, I'll just say that, were shorter also. And I feel like it made sense that they would be shorter because, realistically, I don't think that Rosario Dawson or any actress can play Ahsoka with these long things and move around as much as she did with these things in her head. That would be very difficult. So I can understand why they made them shorter, which was fine. It didn't bother me at all. I also noticed in certain shots, it was hard to tell. I did realize, like, towards the end, her lightsabers. So yeah, her lightsabers were white and they were freaking amazing. Like, the sound effects was exactly the same as Rebels. They look like, because you also have to think this is the first time we're seeing white lightsabers live action. Like, we saw the Darksaber live action last season. Now we saw white lightsabers in live action. Like, it's different when it's animated. If it's animated, okay, animations can get away with anything. This is live action. The first time we saw a live action white lightsaber, and it was perfect. It was amazing. Her lightsaber sounded exactly the way they did in Rebels, which I appreciated. The thing I appreciated the most, I know y'all are gonna call me out on this. Y'all, you're Rebels fans. I love Rebels, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not my favorite show. I love Clone Wars a lot more. But I know Rebel fans are probably gonna hate me for this. Her lightsabers were not skinny, bro. I was so happy. Because, I'm sorry. Like, as much as good as Rebels was, I didn't really connect to any of the characters as much as I did. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just didn't. Like, I didn't connect. I connected with Ezra a bit, but not as much. I connected with Kanan a little bit, but not as much. The only characters I really connected with throughout the show was Vader, Ahsoka, the Emperor, Maul. Like, only character, Obi-Wan, only characters from, like, other stuff. But, like, any of the characters from the show, I didn't really connect with them that much. Like, even Bo-Katan, I connected with her, and she doesn't have, like, a major role. But I connected with her. But I didn't connect with any of the Rebels characters. I love them. I really do. They're funny and they're great. But, like, I didn't connect with them as much as I connected with, like, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Yoda, like, Darth Maul, like, Savage Opress, all of them. Like, I connected with them. Captain Rex, Cody. I connected with all of them a lot more. Mainly because I grew up with them, but also just because of how their character development was. I connected with those characters a lot more than I did with Rebels. Not saying I hate Rebels. I don't. But, like, I'm saying I connected with the Clone Wars show more because I grew up with it and because most of my favorite characters are in that show anyway. But I do love Rebels for them bringing those characters in and doing them really well. So, obviously, when I saw Ahsoka in live action, the only way I can compare her was from when she was in Rebels. Because that was her, like, she was like 30, I believe, in Rebels, they said. So here she's probably like in her late 30s, early 40s, I would say. Probably. So, it was cool to see that. And in certain shots, it was hard to tell how long her lightsabers were, but like her lightsabers were equal length. But yeah, I did appreciate her lightsabers were not skinny. Like, that was the main thing I loved. Like, her lightsabers were not skinny. They were average length. They were average width. Like, it made sense. It just bothered me. That was the main thing I hated about Rebels, is how skinny the lightsabers were. And I loved the Jedi. So obviously I loved Kanan and Ezra a lot more than everybody else. But I just hated their sabers. Like, I liked Ezra's lightsaber where he could, like, shot blasters at it at first. That was pretty cool. That was intelligent. I've never seen anything like that before. But then, like, they were just so skinny, and that just bothered me so much for so long. Like, I think they said that was supposed to be the original concept. The lightsabers were supposed to be that skinny in the movies, and thank God they weren't, because it just looked weird. Like, I just couldn't get over it, how weird they looked. But either way, I loved it anyway. So Ahsoka was obviously taking people out, as to be expected, and she was on the planet. I thought that the planet was going to be like this nice little place that she was just meditating, probably. But no, she was trying to liberate villagers who were captured by Elizabeth or Elsbeth. I forgot. I think that's how you say her name. The girl, the queen lady, the lady who was running things, the prison camp. We'll just say that because it felt like a prison camp. And Mando shows up with Baby Yoda, and she tasks him to kill the Jedi. And in return, she gave him a Beskar like spear, which was crazy, because then it also brought me to the attention, like, okay, Beskar armor can hold up to lightsabers. So I wonder, we know that he's going to fight Moff Gideon at the end, and we know that Moff Gideon has the dark saber. Is he going to use this spear against the dark saber? Because I was always curious, like, Moff Gideon may not be like a Jedi or like has force. He's not a force user, so he's not force sensitive. But like, how is Mando going to go up against his darksaber? Or the darksaber's not his. The darksaber. And I was curious. So now that he has the spear, that's pretty good. Pretty good. He's gonna use the spear against him. Makes sense. So that's pretty cool. I also noticed that that they mentioned Baby Yoda's name in this episode. Grogu is his name. And dude, they dropped a lot of like knowledge on Grogu is his name. I have to get used to calling him that, because everybody, I know even after they listed his name, people are still gonna call him Baby Yoda. I just know it. But we saw his name is Grogu, and she was able to connect with him. So he can't speak words, I guess, because he's still in the baby stage of his like life cycle. But he can communicate through the Force. And Din Djarin, Mando couldn't understand it, obviously, because he's not force sensitive, so that's why he can never understand what he was saying. But she could understand him through the Force, and Grogu was on the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. And I was just like, what? So he was on the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. He was trained by many teachers. And then when the Clone Wars ended and the Empire rose and the Purge happened, he was taken and was hidden. And I assumed somehow he was found by Moff Gideon's crew, and they wanted to use him. I assume because the people have been speculating that they've been using his midi-chlorians to clone. Why is his name spaced out to me right now? Snoke. I think that they said they were using his midi-chlorians to clone Snoke. That's the rumor that's going around right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because that would explain why Snoke was so powerful and force sensitive. So that would make sense. But yeah, like it would be interesting if that was the case. Like Snoke came from Baby Yoda, and that's what came with the cloning process. That would be interesting. But it was crazy that like Baby Yoda was on Coruscant at the Jedi Temple, but like, has no one mentioned him? Like, I feel like if he was on the Jedi Temple, Yoda must have known about him, and he kept it secret. Even after he's dead, he kept it secret. So, who? Because now I'm curious. Who was his masters? Who trained him? I'm assuming Yoda had to have been one of them. I'm assuming it has to be Yoda. Yoda must have known of him. He must have trained him, and other masters have trained him, which I'm curious to find out who they were. And then, when the Purge happened, he was in hiding, and because of that, he was alone, and he was, I assume, afraid. And Ahsoka mentioned that, like, he was afraid, because she wanted to test him. She was testing how strong he was in the Force, and she wouldn't listen to him, but she would listen to Mando. Attachment. Now, I didn't realize this at all. Like, I figured, like, if Mando was going to find Ahsoka, he was going to try to give him to her. But she wasn't going to take him, because the show's focused on the both of them. So I was wondering, like, what her reason would be. But then I didn't even think about it. Like, Baby Yoda, or Grogu, is attached to Mando. He has attachments. Attachments is the reason the Jedi fell, technically. Anakin had an attachment to Padme, and because of that, his fears of her dying made him join the dark side to save her, and that caused the Jedi to die and to for the Purge to happen. So obviously, Ahsoka being the Padawan of Darth Vader, she's afraid of that same thing happening to Grogu, and she's afraid of making that same mistake. And if she couldn't get through to Anakin when he was Darth Vader, then she wouldn't even think that she could get through to Grogu if he had went down that same path. So it's understandable why she wouldn't train him, because she didn't want to risk having that attachment to him. And since he has an attachment to Mando, the training wouldn't really go the way she would want it to go, because he's attached.
What's up, guys? I'm sorry if there was like a cut. I was in the middle and I guess it started updating. I don't know. My iPad just freaked out. But anyway, so yeah, I'm curious as to, so yeah, they said that he had attachments, and his attachments would be his downfall. And Ahsoka didn't want to take that chance of risking that again after Anakin had happened. So what she decided to do...
developed that are based on our proceeds model, where...
Sorry. I just have to cut through this a lot. I apologize. This is going to be stupid long. I apologize. But I was just so excited. So yeah, afterwards, Mando makes an agreement with Ahsoka. If I help you free the villagers in the town, you have to agree to train him. So they agreed, and they had a really good work together. So it was interesting. Like, Ahsoka went in there, she took care of him. She handled business. She went in there, she jumped over the gate, she took him out, no problem. I noticed that Ahsoka, that was another thing I wanted to talk about. Ahsoka, or Rosario Dawson, didn't fight with her lightsabers backhanded. And I figured it didn't bother me, not at all. I feel like it would be hard to fight backhanded with two lightsabers realistically, so it's understandable they didn't do that. Like, she was mainly fighting with her lightsabers just in front like this. It looked weird at certain times, because I'm like, Ahsoka, you've been fighting backhanded the majority of your Jedi training. You should be doing that the most, but it's understandable because realistically that's kind of difficult. And this was only for one episode, I assume, unless we see her later on. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so it would be understandable they didn't want to go all out for that. But it still didn't bother me. It didn't affect me at all. Like, I still loved it anyway. But anyway, so yeah, I noticed that she was fighting forward hand, not backhand, like she typically does. So, anyways, so she goes up to Elsa or Elizabeth. I'm just gonna call her Elizabeth because that's the closest I heard of it. Elizabeth. So she took that's how you know I'm a Star Wars fan. Mando. She took Mando's Beskar, this one where he has the sign from the Mark of Two is what they called it. When Baby Yoda and him, or Grogu, I have to start calling him Grogu now. When Grogu and him worked together to kill the Beast together, and she took that and showed it to them, and it's like, yeah, your Mandalorian ain't about this life. He wasn't prepared for me. So it was great to see her take care of business as usual. And then Mando comes in, and while she's distracting the army, he comes in and saves the prisoners. And the guy that Mando talked to at the beginning of the episode, that was part of the village, actually was a good person. Like, he tried to help out, and I think he became the leader at the end. But anyway, so Ahsoka handles business, and while Mando distracts that military ex-guy, I forgot his name, but she goes in and fights Elizabeth, and they had a pretty decent fight. Like, it was decent, actually. I really liked it. It was kind of like samurai-ish. Like, it had like a lot of samurai feels to the fight, and I actually really enjoyed that because in a way Jedi kind of feel like samurais. And after me playing Ghost of Tsushima, I heard someone who was also a Star Wars fan, shout out to Blind Wave, Calvin, who plays Ghost of Tsushima, in one of his videos in Blind Wave, he was talking about how Ghost of Tsushima kind of feels like Star Wars. It kind of feels like how the Jedi do things. Like, the Jedi don't back attack people. Typically, they fight, full front. Like, they fight, like, they don't do stealth missions typically. Like, for the war, they had to, like, do that, but typically no. And it was interesting that he made that connection, because I played Ghost of Tsushima too, and I did make that connection. Like, it did feel like Star Wars to me. It felt like a Jedi to me, so it was also cool. But yeah, the fight felt very samurai-ish, which I really liked. And Ahsoka lost her lightsaber, and then she used her smaller one, and then she held it backhand, and then used it to fight later on, which was super cool. So, Elizabeth, I was curious why Ahsoka was on this planet, because if you remember, the last time, technically, through story-wise, the last time we saw Ahsoka was like season 7 finale. That was the last time we saw her. But story-wise, the last time we saw Ahsoka was Rebels. And at the end of Rebels, she was wearing her Gandalf the White outfit and was with Sabine to go look for Ezra. In this episode, I was wondering why she was here. What was she doing? Why? Like, I figured, freeing villagers, okay, this is Ahsoka, she probably would do this. But I feel like there had to have been some other reason she's here. And I was curious what that reason would be. And we find out that Elizabeth has a master. The master is Admiral Thrawn. I was like, what? Thrawn? Then I figured, it took me a minute to think about it. I was like, Thrawn, because Ezra was holding Thrawn at the finale. He was holding Thrawn, and when they both, I guess, like, went into that portal or whatever, wherever they went to. And it's not been confirmed that Ezra's dead. It's not been confirmed that Thrawn is dead. So if Thrawn is alive, that means he'll know that Ezra's alive. So it seems like she's still looking for Ezra, so that's pretty cool. Like, it's good. I felt like Ahsoka either would have made that like a side mission, not like her main priority, but it seems like it, in a way, it's still her main priority, so that's cool. So it's cool that Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn, and then she's possibly going to look for Ezra as well. So that's cool. And then at the end, after they freed the town and everything, Ahsoka again tells him, because you're like a father to him, I can't take him off your hands. Like, I can't do that, because then it's not going to be right for him, and then it's not going to be right for me training him, because then again he has an attachment. If I sever that attachment, who knows what could happen? Makes sense. So, what she agrees to tell him is there is a way that you could possibly train him. Take him to the planet of Tython, I believe that's what they said, to an ancient Jedi temple there, where you will go there and take him to the top of the mountain at like a center stone peak. You put him in that stone, or you put him in like the center, and let Grogu choose his own path. And I was like, oh, okay.
So if Grogu chooses his own path, he chooses what he wants to do. But then she also said something about his Force powers can fade. I found that interesting because I was like, wait a minute. The Force can fade from a person? And I guess if like you don't use it. But like Baby Yoda uses it, so I assume his powers would not fade. So I was curious, like, okay, so if he doesn't use it, will his powers just eventually fade and he just will not be Force sensitive? Or will they just be dormant? And like he can't be like, because I think the only way you can be closed off from the Force is if like, because I know that Seer and Luke were the only two people that I know of that closed themselves off from the Force. Luke closed himself off from the Force in The Last Jedi, and Seer did it in Jedi Fallen Order. They both closed themselves off from the Force. I forgot how they said they did it, but I know they did it. And it wasn't temporary, like, or it wasn't permanent. Like, it was only temporary. Because then eventually you saw Luke floating, and then you saw Seer use the Force to pick up the lightsaber. So yeah, them cutting themselves off from the Force is not permanent. It's temporary. So, I figured that you can't really lose your connection to the Force. So I don't really know what she meant by that. But anyway, so if Grogu chooses his own path, I wonder what he's gonna choose. They said that if he chooses to be a Jedi, his presence will be strong enough that any Jedi that are still out there can sense him. But then again, there are no Jedi out there at this time. And we know that since this takes place 5-6 years after the events of, probably 5 years still, 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, we know that the only Jedi that are still out there, as far as we know, possibly Ezra, Ahsoka, Luke, and Leia. Those are the only Force-sensitive people that are still out there at this point. So, who would he take him to? If anyone could sense him, I feel like it'd be Luke. But at the same time, if it's Luke, that means Luke takes him, trains him, and then that means Baby Yoda could possibly die in The Last Jedi. Because we know that Ben kills all the other Padawans and trainee and the other younglings or whatever when he escaped, when he left. So I'm curious if he takes him to Luke. Does Baby Yoda die in The Last Jedi? Because that would be pretty dark if that was the case. But I don't think that's the case. So, again, it's all up in the air. We have no idea. I'm very curious and I'm very anxious to figure out what's going to happen. But out of all of this, dude, I'm going to have to give this, like, the best 10 out of 10 for me. This was literally the best episode of the entire series. Like, my favorite episodes of this series were, like, some of the episodes last season. Some of the episodes this season were good, but like some of the ones last season were really good. Like episode 3 was really good. Episode 4 was actually really good. I believe episode 6 was when it was Prisoners was really good. And episode 8, Redemption, was really good. So those were my top 4 favorite episodes of this series. But like this has to trump all of that because it was Ahsoka and she was done perfectly and it was amazing. So I'm curious if we'll see her in live action again, maybe. I wonder if, because like I said, there is a possibility that there was rumors that there could be an Ahsoka spin-off series. If that's the case, if people like her live action appearance the most, they'll probably like take a vote. Who knows? I think honestly, if they're going to do an Ahsoka show and it most likely will end her character arc, they need to put Ashley back because Ashley created the character. It only makes sense that she continues to play the character in her last moments. So I feel like it should be animated. But if they like Rosario Dawson so much, a lot, then they'll probably keep it live action. I think personally, I love Rosario Dawson. Don't get me wrong, she's amazing. Her as Ahsoka was great. But personally, since I've grown up with Ashley, Exton, I believe is her last name, who played as Ahsoka for years throughout my entire childhood, she deserves to be Ahsoka. She deserves to play Ahsoka. Like she played Ahsoka all through Clone Wars. When Clone Wars was canceled, she came back to play her in Rebels. She played her in the Rebels episodes that she was in, and then she came back again to play her in the last season of Clone Wars. So if anyone deserves to play as her, it's her. Like Ashley deserves to play as Ahsoka in her own show. So maybe they'll probably do some more appearances of Ahsoka live action throughout certain things. Maybe. But as far as I know, if they do her own show, it deserves to be animated. And directed by Dave Filoni. and voice acted by Ashley. It just deserves that. It just does. But yeah, man, this was an amazing episode. I'm thoroughly impressed and really surprised. I was not disappointed at all. From start to finish, I literally was like on the verge of tears. Like my mouth was dropped, my eyes were watery. I was freaking excited. I talked way too much throughout the reaction because that's what I'm worried about when I do reaction videos. I'm worried that I'm going to be talking too much. So that's one of the reasons why I'm scared to do reaction videos, because I talk a lot when I'm like passionate about something. So that's what I'm worried about, and you guys will be annoyed hearing me. But dude, amazing episode, start to finish. It was great. I can't wait to see
More of what this season has to offer now. Like
we've seen Boba Fett, we've seen Bo-Katan, we've seen Ahsoka. I don't know what else we can see now. Like that was literally all we needed in 5 episodes. So
we still got like, I don't know
how many episodes were in last season. I believe there were 8 of them, right? So if this is episode 5, that means we have
3 episodes left. We got 3 episodes left of this season. If it continues with the 8 episode arc
or 8 episode count, then we have 3 episodes left before the season is over. So
I'm curious if this is going to be like, what else are they going to show?
like I know there's going to be a big fight with Moff Gideon because the actor himself kind of confirmed that. So that's great. Will Bo-Katan probably show up to help him because she needs the Darksaber as well. So
who knows? But I'm very curious as to what we're going to see for the rest of the season,
because the trailer only showed like images and things from the first 4 episodes. So from this Ahsoka episode to the rest of the season, we have no idea what we're going to see. So now I'm curious. So I'm curious as to what we're going to see. But highly recommend, if you are a Clone Wars fan, watch this episode because it was so good. I was not disappointed from start to finish. I had nitpicks, but it didn't bother me
because it realistically makes sense.
It didn't bother me at all. Like I was not bothered. I was not annoyed. I was not disappointed at all. I got 2 of my favorite characters fight together. It was great. So
thank you guys for hearing my reaction.
I appreciate. I'm sorry I have to say this again because I want to see if my views have gone up. 114 views in an hour. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. Like even those who aren't subscribed, you guys are awesome anyway. Like it's very rare that I have a lot of people watch my videos, so I appreciate the love and support. Trust me. If you guys subscribe to my channel, I promise to give you guys the best content I can. I noticed I have not posted any Miles Morales stuff in the past few days. I'm going to post one probably tomorrow because I'm going to be doing some Black Friday shopping with some of my friends. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But
if I have time tomorrow, if not tomorrow, I'll do it this weekend.
I will post a new episode of Miles Morales.
I know for some people it was kind of annoying for me to like do my spoiler review and then still post walkthroughs,
but I was just so hyped and it was still on my mind. I still wanted to do it. But anyway, so
I will see you guys next time.
If you like my video review and if you like my channel in general, just hit the comments, like, share, subscribe. Put in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you didn't. If you didn't, why didn't you like it? Tell me what you would have wished was more of focused in this show or in this episode. Let me know what you hope if you want an Ahsoka spin-off show. I personally do. I personally prefer it to be animated. If it's live action, that's fine too. But I would prefer it to be animated because it just feels more honorable for the actress Ashley. So.
Let me know what you guys think.
I want to reach out to my Star Wars community a lot more because I like to reach out to my Marvel, Star Wars, DC, anime. I'm all about all that stuff. So if you guys want to talk to me about any of that stuff, please do. I have no problem commenting.
So I'll see you guys later. Peace.